beginning with lines 67 to 77. Satis mihi multa verba feci se videor quare esset hoc bellum genere ipso necessarium magnitudine periculosum. So, satis, enough, mihi, to me, I seem, feci se, to have made, multa verba, many words. So I seem to have said enough, or even you could say it seems to me to have said enough, but I think I seem to have said enough. Quare, to explain why. Hoc bellum, this war, esset, was, magnitudine periculosum, at so dangerous a scale, or at this dangerous scale, genere ipso, by its very nature, necessarium, inevitable. Restat, so it stands, ut, that, videatur, it seems, dicendum esse, that really it needs to be said, so that I need to speak about deligendo, selecting, praeficiendo, and appointing the command. Okay, so de imperatore, the command. So I need to speak about the command being deligendo, selected, praeficiendo, and appointed. Okay, so we'll put that into the active voice. I need to speak about selecting and appointing the command ad id bellum, for that war, ac tantis rebus, and for such operations. So it would seem that it remains for me to speak about selecting and appointing the command for that war and for such operations. Utinam, if only, quirites, Romans. Virorum fortium atque innocentium copiam tantam haberetus. Haberetis. So haberetis, you would have regard to so great, tantam, copiam, a supply, that's copiam there, a supply of fortium virorum, of brave, atque innocentium, of brave and upright, I suppose, of brave and upright men, ut, so purpose, result clause here, that this deliberatio, decision of yours should be difficult. Quem nam potissimum tantis rebus et ac tanto bello praeficiendum putaretis. Would you think, or rather who, quem nam, who, I ask, putaretis, would you think, praeficiendum, should be appointed potissimum, as commander, in so many affairs, and also in so great a war. I guess in so many affairs, in these operations, and so great a war. Nunc vero, now truly, cum sit unus naeus Pompeius, qui non modo eorum hominum, qui nunc sunt gloriam sedetiam antiquitatis memoriam virtute superarit, quae reses quae quisquam animum in hac causa dubium facere possit. Now truly, cum, since Gnaeus Pompeius sit unus is the only one, so note the position of sit unus there, so Gnaeus Pompeius is your subject, is the only one, qui, who, non modo, not only, supera, where it has overcome, gloriam, the glory, of those men, eorum hominum, of those men, qui nunc sunt, who are now living, sedetiam, but also memoriam, the memory or the achievements, antiquitatis, of those from the previous generation. Quae res est, quae quisquam. Excuse me, before I move on, I just realized I forgot virtute. So he's overcome the glory and of men currently living and his ancients, virtute, with his qualities, or with his virtue, perhaps you might say, or his courage. Quae res est quae quisquam. So what, we go all the way down to causa here. So for what reason est is there, quae, which, possit, facere, which could, facere, cast, dubium, doubt, in animum, so into the minds, in hac causa. Okay, so in anyone's mind in this case, so into the mind quisquam of anyone in hac causa in this case. So excuse me, I think I said causa at the start, but no, it would be quae res, what affair est is there, quae which possit facere is able to cast dubium doubt, animum into the mind, quisquam of anyone in hac causa in this case. Okay, excuse my error earlier on. Ego enim sic existimo. So, for I think as follows. In summo imperatore quatuor has res in esse oportere. That these, okay, so has res, these are the four, I suppose, characteristics. Oportere, which ought, so this is our indirect statement here, with has res being an active, accusative subject. So these are the four quatuor characteristics, qualities, oportore, which ought in esse to be in summo imperatore, in the greatest general. Okay, so these are the four qualities that the greatest general should have. Scientiam re militaris, so knowledge of military affairs, virtutem, courage, auctoritatem, influence, felicitatem, and luck. So beginning at 78 to 93 now, continuing on. Quis igitur hoc homine scientiorumquam aut fuit, aut esse debuit. So igitur, therefore, I ask, quis, who, fuit, has either been, or aut fuit, either has been, umquam, ever, has ever been, aut, or debuit esse, should be, scientior, more knowledgeable, hoc homine, your abode of comparison, than this man. Qui a ludo atque apue ritiae disciplinis bello maximo atque acerrimis hostibus, over the page, ad patris exercitum atque in militiae disciplinam profectus est. So qui, who, from school, atque a pueritiae disciplinis, and from disciplinis, the education, pueritia, of his boyhood, bello maximo, during the greatest war, and also acerrimis hostibus, with the fiercest enemies. Profectus est, set out, ad exercitum, to the army, patris, of his father, that's your genitive, atque, and also in disciplinam, into the training, militiae, of the military. So note the way that he's split his prepositional phrases there by putting the genitive in the middle as a point of emphasis. Qui extrema pueritia miles in exercitu summi fuit imperatus. So who, on the edge, extrema pueritia, on the edge of boyhood, miles fuit, was a soldier, in exercitu, so in the army, imperatoris, of summi imperatoris, of the greatest general, the highest general, in eunte adolescentia, at the beginning of his youth, I suppose, maximi ipse exercitus imperator. So the bit of synthesis there. So ipse, he himself, imperator, was the general, maximi exercitus, of the greatest exercitus armies. That's a genitive singular. Qui, who, so again this anaphora with qui saepius cum hoste conflixit, so who has, I suppose, engaged in combat, conflixit, so who has engaged in combat, cum hoste, with an enemy of the state. That's important. Saepius, more often. Quam, a comparative clause, quam, than, quisquam, anyone, concertavit, has disputed, cum inimico, with a rival. Okay, so the contrast between a hostis and an inimicus there. Plurabella, gessit. Gessit, he has waged, plurabella, more wars, quam ceteri legerunt, quam, than ceteri, others, legerunt, have read about. Plures provincias confecit, quam ali concupiverunt. So confecit, he has completed more commands, so plures provincias, more commands, quam ali concupiverunt, and others have desired. Cuius adolescentia adscientiam rei militaris non alienis praeceptis sed suis imperis, non offensionibus belli sed victoris, non stipendis sed triumphis est erudita. So the adolescents, cuius, of whom, so whose adolescence, erudita est, was trained to the knowledge of military affairs, rei militaris, so adscientiam rei militaris, to the knowledge of military affairs, non alienis praeceptis, not by the instructions of others, so not by the instructions of others, sed suis imperis, but by his own commands, non offensionibus belli, not by his the disasters of war, sed victorious, but by his victories, non stipendis, not by his campaigns, sed triumphis, but by his triumphs. Quod denique genus esse belli potest, in quo illum non exercuerit fortuna rei publicae. So what, denique, at last, what genus, what kind, belli, of war, potest, can there esse be, in which fortuna, the fortune, rei publica, of the republic, exercuit, non illum, has not trained illum, that man. Civile, Africanum, Transalpinum, Hispaniense mixtum, ex civibus atque ex bellicosissimis nationibus, servile navale bellum, varia et diversa genera et bellorum et hostium, non solum gesta ab hoc uno sed etiam confecta, nullum remesse declarant in usu possitam militari, quae huius vidi scientiam fugere possit. So I start this one with the word declarant, which I'll use twice, so they make it clear that, so this is our indirect statement, it was a civile bellum, a civil war, Africanum, so imagine that in is here, so against Africans, against Transalpine Gauls, against Hispaniense, Spanish, mixtum, mixed, ex civibus, from citizens, atque, and also from bellicosissimus nationibus, the most warlike tribes, okay, against us. So so it was a civil war fought against a mixture of citizens and also people from the most warlike tribes against in Africa, Transalpine Gaul, and Spain. A war against slaves, so servile, navale bellum, a naval war, and then he sort of summarizes everything. Varia et diversa, various and different genera, kinds of both, so et, both bellorum wars and also hostium enemies. Non solum gesta, not only waged ab hoc uno, by this one man, sed etiam confecta, but also completed, which is important, by this one man. Nullam rem declarant, they say there was not one matter concerning in usu possitam militari, in concerning his military experience, quae, which possit, was able, fugere, to escape the knowledge of this man.